I get buried alive for a living. Something else is down there. Part 3, Final. We talk in whispers as I move deeper. I can hear the half singing from behind, faint, echoing. The soft tapping of the moth against the glass jar. The walls are covered in deep red light. Occasionally the moth changes direction, and I'll peer down a potential tunnel to see a figure in there, obscured in the dark, all crimson and shadow, and I swear to God as I move past they turn to look. Addict? The radio asks. Yeah. Overdoses? A few times, sure, who hasn't? Close to death? Sure. Why? It's important that we know these things. My heart's in my mouth. I keep moving as fast as I can, my back starting to ache. My brain works on autopilot, answering questions without thinking about it, trying to stay as quiet as possible, so as to not disturb whatever's around me. The noises from behind me change, sometimes a whistling, sometimes a low moan, sometimes I think I can hear laughter. I see more of the eyes. I see mouths too, white teeth and pink tongues poking from the soil, and when I get close, when I press myself against the wall of the tunnel I can hear them whispering to me, the sound of their tongues against their lips. The moth taps away, flying as hard as possible into the glass, following some unseen light. Sometimes, despite my best instincts, I turn around, and for moments see strange shapes on the floor, on the top of the tunnel, climbing the walls with more limbs than is humanly possible. I have the feeling I'm being hunted, that whatever's after me is taking its time, taking their time. Why me? The radio is silent for a while. You dream with them. They know you. You spend your life underground, dreaming. But what does that mean? I have to raise my voice slightly, and I hear my words echo, as if mouths and lips situated in the walls of these tunnels are repeating my words, trying to learn how they taste, how I think. The dead dream. It's complicated. It's a type of language. You speak it. I don't. You do. You've been to the other side and back, and you lie in the dark in coffins, and you close your eyes and you dream. But that's not a language. Language is other way we communicate our understanding of the world. There are more than you'd think. Gutter, trick tongue, fee. This is just one. Silence again. I keep moving. The tunnels spread out, like a fungus, and I pass hundreds of different turns and forks, and I feel like I'm going down, and the air is getting colder, and sometimes I feel like the tunnel contracts a little, like the vein of something sleeping and ancient. Each turn I pass has some new creature in it, some all limbs in the dull red glow, moving like spiders along the tops of the tunnels. Some just the suggestions of shapes, seeming to be 2, 3 things at once. Sometimes it's just a wail, or a phrase repeated over and over. Phrases like, and when it sits it bleeds, and if we bleed we eat, and as long as we are there in flesh and I don't stay long enough to hear where it goes. The panic in my stomach tunes to a sort of alertness, and I become adept at following the moth without really looking, away in the minor shifts of sound, where it's leading me. I pass at one point a woman, covered in bandages and small cuts, huddled in fetal position, and sobbing, and she sees me, and whispers that she has to sleep soon, or they'll come back, she has to sleep, or she'll do it again, and want to do it again. I can't look at her for much longer. Something in her eyes. Some frenzied desperate look. Her skin looks pallid, dead. Time dilates. I'm not sure how long I have been down here. How long I have been like a rat in these tunnels, trapped and scared and moving. Sometimes I hum the melody to myself, convinced that if I sing it perhaps it will change something, perhaps they'll leave me alone. But they never do, they move too, fast and curious and without stopping. I speak into the radio. What is all this? Why? The dead don't sleep anymore. They can only dream. Next of kin is doing something below, and with bodies and the dead can't sleep anymore. But why does this involve me? And as I speak that sentence I come out into a huge cavern. It's beyond vast, and in the center I can just make out a black spire, made entirely from stone, that seems to climb up and up forever. My stomach sinks. The reason I can make it out, the reason I can see anything in this room becomes clear. Red glow sticks, the same shade as mine, dot the floor, perch on ledges of the spire, pool around its base to give it the impression that it's burst from magma. From hell. I begin to understand why me. That it's not just me. That it's only me, because I'm the next in a long line of people who have asked the exact same question, and not made it back to the surface. I can feel the dream sickness in the air. It teases the edge of my mind. The men with worms for faces return. I can hear moans and feel the texture of wet skin against mine. Someone tells me they love me and they'll always love me, and I snap back into it. I have no choice but to climb. As I reach the bottom of the spire, I realize how tall it is, how it seems to stretch on forever, upwards, and never reaching the surface. The moth is going crazy at this point, hammering the lid of the jar, and with a strange sense of finality I open it. I watch as the moth disappears from view, heading upwards as fast as it possibly can. I clip the radio onto my belt, clamp down on the glow stick in my mouth, and begin to climb. The rock is slick and sharp to the touch, and small jagged edges start to crisscross the palm of my hand and my fingers in tiny red cuts. I bite down harder on the glow stick, using all my effort to pull myself up to the next ledge. As I catch my breath and wipe my hands now slick with blood on my shirt, I hear it. Organic clicks and wet growls and a humming, but louder, clearer, not just humming now, but singing in a tongue I don't understand, and I hear it, the sound of footsteps and bones clicking, and animal cries of excitement, and as I look down I can see them, pouring out of the various tunnels, hundreds and hundreds of them, some pale and multi-limbed and thin, some bandaged and hobbling, some men with faces that are dominated by one huge gaping mouth that's lined with wet teeth, and more shapes that I can't explain, can't rationalize, that seem to leer and sway out of the dark as they move towards me. I can hear them, all murmuring that same melody, and I can tell they're hungry, that they want me, and as I watch I see them move forwards, start to converge at the bottom of the spire, and I realize that they are going to climb. I hear them communicating their strange noises, and I can feel the wash of dreams off them, textures of their lives, regrets, and sorrows and lust, the taste of skin, hunger, a longing, a loneliness. It makes me sway for a second, their dreams floating into my consciousness, but the pain on my hands focuses me, and I keep moving. I climb up, faster now, able to hear them skittering, and beginning to climb, able to hear some of them take those deep ragged breaths. Some don't climb, I'm sure, just stand at the bottom and wail and dream and watch, and my heart's going so fast now I think it must be echoing across the room. I keep climbing. I'm not sure I'm getting any closer to the top, and I begin to feel like this might be in vain, that this spire might somehow go on forever. I think of everything I'd do if I was given one more shot at the surface, if I could feel the sun on my skin again. I make the mistake of turning around, just briefly, and I can see that the whole spire is crawling with them, climbing over each other like maggots, all frantic movements and clicks, and I can see those circular mouths open and close and tremble in anticipation, and I realize that I can't see the floor of the cavern anymore, that the whole room is covered in them, crawling off the walls, and bursting from the floor, and from the tunnels. And some are even dropping down from above into the mass, being instantly trampled by the dead who can no longer sleep, but can smell my dreams. I keep climbing as they get closer and closer. I can feel the energy slowly sapping away, can feel my muscles begin to strain, but I can't slow down. I can almost feel their breath on my legs, and I keep working. My hands are shredded now, and each new ledge brings a jolt of pain, and sometimes I bite down so hard on the glow stick I'm sure that it'll snap, that I'll taste chemicals, and vomit and fall, but it holds. They half sing louder, that sad melody that all the dead sing. I'm not sure if I can see light, or if I'm imagining it, or if the lack of oxygen to my brain is making my vision tunnel, but I swear, in front of me, I can see the faintest pinprick of light. I keep moving, my chest heaving, my back and arms screaming in pain. The light gets brighter, more intense. I can still hear them behind me, so close, and as I reach out to grasp the next ledge I feel something on my leg. I let out a yell, and the glow stick falls from my mouth. One of the creatures has my leg in its hand, the ankle grasped between long thin fingers, and as I watch it tries to fit my foot in its mouth, opening wide, all teeth and gums, and my hands begin to slip on the ledge they're holding, too slick with blood to get any real grip, and I can see how it all goes from here. I can see myself falling into the mass, losing myself in the mess of bodies and mouths, awash in their dreams and limbs, and I can see myself stuck down here, unable to properly die, forced to dream forever, hungry and waiting for the next person who comes below. Just as I'm beginning to accept my fate, to realize that this is it, this is happening, I feel a grip on my wrist. No. 2 grips. And a force starts pulling me from above, and I feel myself drawn up, the creature loosening its grip on my leg, and then I can see the moth fly past me, just for a second, and I'm out. I'm above ground. The sunset makes the sky the color of a bruise, and I breathe. In. Out. I'm out. I don't have long to recover before Miller is pulling me up, shoving me into the truck. The wave takes a second, puts the strange contraption above the hole I emerged from, and seems to press something. They turn to Miller. Drive. And so we do. We drive so quickly I have to close my eyes, and behind us there's this noise, and then a flash of light that leaves me gasping. Miller slams on the brakes. We stop for a moment. My head is throbbing now, and I open the truck door to vomit. I turn to them. What the fuck? We are sorry. They say. You couldn't know. They had to believe you were trapped. I was bait. Not the term we'd use, but sure. They'd know if you knew. They'd smell it on you. In your dreams. I think of the red glow sticks I saw lining the cavern that let me climb up the spire. And the others? How many before me? They're silent, exchange a look. You're the only one we've sent down. Bullshit. I don't believe it, I think they're lying, but the look they share makes me doubt it, just for a second. We are not sure the next of kin will want you back after this. I've had enough of their shit, and I want to go home. To go back. Sure. Call us if that changes. It won't, I think. I could live a long and happy life and never even think about the two of them ever again. They drop me off outside my apartment complex and try to say something as I get out. Don't, I say. I look to them, exhausted, covered in blood and sweat, and say it again, don't. I'm so grateful to be back on solid land that just that night I don't mind as I step over the syringes as I hear my neighbors argue and throw bottles at the wall. I'm home. That's all that matters. It's that night, as I lie in bed, that I start to think I can hear something. The sound of someone vomiting outside my apartment, and then a knock at my door. Something beneath me, as well. Maybe I'm imagining it, I think, and I roll over, lying on my side. No. I'm not imagining it. For a moment, I think I'm in a coffin. I kick my legs and my arms, roll over, breathe a huge sigh of relief when I can move. But it's there. There's another knock at my door. I ignore it. Put my hands over my ears. But my mattress feels strange, and when I go to move it, I see that under it, where the floor is meant to be, is just the bare earth. There, under my mattress is dirt. And I swear for just a moment, as if it was moving away the second I pulled my mattress off, I catch sight of an eye. Peering back at me. As soon as I see it, it's gone. And as I stand there, hands beginning to shake, whoever was outside my door walks away. I hear their footsteps getting fainter, and then, rising into the night, they start to whistle. They start to whistle that same sad melody.